At 9:38 is the time. Listen, back to Lucy Letby. There's so much talk about this tragic case. Of course, it's all over the papers. It's all over the broadcast. We've taken a bit of a break from it, knowing full well that the news breaks that we take, the headlines that we give you every 15 minutes or so, will be updating you on that particular story. So many questions. We've already had a discussion around it, but we thought we'd take a break and try and talk about something a bit more positive and uplifting rather than the sheer misery and the scale of the upset of this thing. Of course, it's the front page of all the newspapers. We return to it briefly now, but in a slightly different way. There are so many different stories to tell. I'm speaking to the Reverend Charlotte Cheshire now, whose son Adam was left severely disabled after contracting Group B strep after delivery at the Royal Shrewsbury Hospital. This was in March 2011. He's now 12 years old, but has a much lower development age than that. So this case of Lucy Letby must be doubly depressing and difficult to watch, I would have thought. But we welcome Reverend Charlotte Cheshire to the programme. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, so you must have been watching all this unfold and wondering where lessons have been learnt on this. Firstly, how is your son?
Oh, thank you. My son is doing very well. He lives at his residential special needs school now because of the level of his complex need that he needs that much support. But despite his birth injuries and many, many disabilities that, yes, leave him with a developmental age of approximately 4 years old, he's doing really well. He's doing as well as could be expected in the circumstances, shall we say.
So he contracted Group B strep after delivery. Was there no chance that he would have caught this if he hadn't been let down?
Well, Group B strep is a bacteria that lives naturally in a woman's body and can be transmitted from mother to child during the birth process. The key thing, though, is that if the guidelines on detecting it in a timely manner and then treating it are followed, a vast majority of babies recover and generally without disabilities. But if the signs and symptoms aren't caught soon enough, if medical staff aren't vigilant, then the outcome can be catastrophic, with either some babies dying or other babies surviving but being left with permanent disabilities. And the latter was, of course, the case with my son.
Donna Ockenden is the senior midwife who examined maternity practices at Shrewsbury and Telford NHS Trust, and I believe that Royal Shrewsbury Hospital is a part of that trust. She examined those maternity practices and found that babies' deaths were often not investigated, grieving parents not listened to. I mean, there was just a terrible list of failings, and everyone left saying lessons will be learned. But yeah.
And the key thing in so many cases, including my own, was that no investigation was done. So in my particular case, what was a healthy full-term pregnancy ended up with a child in neonatal intensive care, in a coma, on life support, not expected to live. And yet there was no investigation after that. Yeah. And that was one of the many things that Donna Ockenden queried, not only in my case, but in others, of, hang on a second, why are you not taking this further? Why are you not asking the questions that could prevent this happening again?
Yeah. And is progress being made now? Do you know?
Well, the hospital insists that progress is being made, yes. And they say that there are measurable outcomes of progress. I freely confess that as one of the families involved in the situation, I'm pretty cynical, and I probably will be for a long time until the test of time has proven that to be true. Because sadly, over the years, we've seen far too many press releases from Shrewsbury and Telford Hospital saying it's all sorted, it's all better now, only to discover it isn't. So I hope it is.
How do you deal with your anger?
Therapy. A lot of therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
I mean, that's a simple answer. I mean, therapy, advocating for change, talking to people like yourself, not being willing to take no for an answer, and just continually persisting and saying, well, actually, other people need to know these stories, because if there's any remote chance that in telling my story, our stories repeatedly, that it prevents similar things happening to other families, then it's worth the stress.
I mean, the numbers in the Shrewsbury case were I mean, they're off the charts. And I read, yeah, in fact, I mean, it's running into it's hundreds. 201 babies could have.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
201 babies who avoidably died, but the actual statistics of harm generally were so much higher, because it was, I believe I'm right on this number, 1,486 families whose care was investigated, and in some of those situations, they had more than one incident that led to either the serious illness or death or lasting disability of a mother and or child. And in some families, it was mother and child or multiple children. So it was much more than 201.
Health Secretary Sajid Javid, at the time, he told MPs in one case the hospital trust had kept important clinical information on post-it notes, which were then swept into the bin by cleaners. I'm not surprised you have. And there was one point, as I'm sure you'll recall, that a significant number of medical notes were found in an abandoned nurse's residence, that halfway through the Ockenden inquiry, it was something like, here's lots of medical notes. Where did they come from? So that there was a catalogue of errors. Yeah. Can I ask your thoughts after what you and Adam have been through and the wider family, what you thought when you first saw the story of Lucy Letby and the families?
Well, I freely confess that it's the story that I didn't want to be true. And I'm sure there are many people who would say the same. Because even despite everything that I went through with my own hospital medical negligence case, I still never would have wanted to believe that anyone in the medical profession who is that closely associated with the care of a baby would be actively working towards their harm. It's one thing to make mistakes. It's one thing to be overstretched, understaffed, that sort of thing. But to be actively trying to harm, I desperately wanted it not to be true. Because out of all of the dreadful things that happened to Adam and I, the good aspect for me was the care that we received in neonatal intensive care, and particularly from the doctors and nurses who cared for Adam. So I really didn't want it to be true. And of course, it's desperately awful that a court has decided that it is. And I'm horrified and heartbroken for the families who are getting answers, but the worst type of answer to get.
I hope you don't mind me asking this question. You might consider it to be impertinent, but that's what I'm sitting here for in a way. Didn't this test your faith?
Oh, of course it did. Of course it did, without a shadow of a doubt. I may be ordained and I may have a bit of plastic around my neck, but I am still very much human. And I assure you that bit of plastic comes off. And there are plenty of times that I have shouted and screamed and wept at the sky and said, God, why are you allowing this? And dare I say, because I am a vicar, there's plenty of precedent for that in the Bible. If you look at the entire book of Psalms, it's mostly about King David, among others, shouting at God and saying, why are you allowing this? So, yes, it did test my faith, definitely.
Decent weekend ahead for you? How often, how long do you sermonize for? How long do you preach for from the pulpit tomorrow? Have you prepared?
Well, I freely confess the sermon might be slightly shorter tomorrow than usual. But thankfully my service starts at 10, so it's due to finish at 11. So
and it won't. It'll finish before that, will it? Is that because of the footy?
Oh, I couldn't possibly comment
Unbelievable.
as to whether anything so unspiritual as football could interfere with our weekly worship.
God's going to be there.
Absolutely.
And I have no doubt that he's on England's side.
She is. She is.
Quite right. Charlotte, shall we argue sometime and see how far I get, which won't be very far, but it'd be great to speak.
More than happy to.
Take care of yourself. All the best, and the best to Adam as well. That's the Reverend Charlotte Cheshire, who sounds rather amazing, as a matter of fact. 9:47, Sinead Carroll has the news.